Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast to guide you home into your human journey here on Earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard, and it is my delight to co create with Gaia and share our messages from Source in this now moment. Here we go. Episode 418. It is Thursday here in Cincinnati. It's a little gray and cloudy today, kind of chilly, but we have had a weekend of sunshine and warm temperatures, and I can feel spring is about to arrive. So, yay to that. I love all the four seasons, but summer is for sure my favorite, and we are headed in that direction. Today, how do we articulate it? 3 words: allow, align, receive. And then I'm practicing the 4th word, which is express. And so today we're going to unpackage that energy and what I feel when I describe all of that. So this morning, I woke up a little cranky. I don't know, I just did. Tired, feeling like all these responsibilities and obligations and, the pressing of time, never enough time. Went to the gym, moved a little physical energy, and then came home and was just sitting in the sometimes you just have those feelings of just like, why aren't things just a little more perfect, even though things were really pretty good. So many of my conversations lately have been about this. Things are really good, but then there's still that sense of like, what's happening? What's that little edge to it that isn't just quite right? And so I took my bath, started getting ready, and I was reminded of my friend Andrea's tapping recordings that she has sent me. And so I thought, well, while I'm getting my hair done, while I'm doing my hair, I'll just quickly listen to those and not tap, but just tune into the words. And I could feel the shift as I started listening to how she was transmitting the energy that she had been receiving in those recordings. And they were so good. They were so good. Like all of these little 3-4 minute rampages, she calls them, where she was just tapping and flowing with whatever the message was. I'm like, oh my God, these are perfect and exactly the vibration, the frequency I wanted to realign with. By the way, Andrea Henkels has a Patreon page, and everyone should be part of that. There's so much juicy goodness that she is sharing, and it's magic. So I will put a link to that in the description. But I was listening to these recordings, and I came downstairs and did my meditation before getting ready for the podcast, with lots of little thoughts of what maybe we could talk about today. And then right before was it right before the meditation? Yeah, right before the meditation, I had sent Andrea a text saying thank you for these recordings, and she said, give me some words of what you'd like to tap into next for your next rampage. And I find myself typing into the phone, allow, align, receive. I'm like, that's interesting. So I go into my meditation. I'm like, what does this mean? And of course, that's what I practice every time I sit down to tune into Gaia's love, to tune into the vibration for this podcast. That's exactly what I do. I allow the space and the time to sit down and to do my process, which I call crystallizing, just connecting into the core of the energy of Gaia, and then bringing in all of this beautiful energy into each of my chakras and clearing out anything that is static or stagnant or not in alignment with that highest frequency. And then allowing the message or the words to be shared to me of what it is we're going to talk about in this specific episode. Sidebar, but one of my friends and I were messaging last week, and she said, she was talking about podcasts, and she said, it's such a precious gift to give someone my time and to listen to their podcast. And I thought, that's exactly how I feel. I have very limited time, and that's not a limited belief. It's true. There's only so many hours in my day that I can give my attention to podcasts or other people's opinions and experiences. And so what I choose to focus on is really significant, and I want the value, the exchange, to be worth the time that I'm investing in it. And so I am very selective about what I listen to, and I have the most beautiful guides in the podcast that I choose. And so I feel that as a, not as a responsibility, but as an honoring in the exchange that I have with all of you who listen to my reflections. Like, thank you. Thank you for the time that you spend honoring the journey that I am experiencing in the way that I'm sharing it with you, with your time and with your attention and with your processing and reflections about what it brings up in you. It is not something that I take lightly, and because of that, when I show up in this space, I am committed to clearing my own energy and clearing anything that is not in service of what I come here to share. And I don't know what that is until I arrive. And so the practice of allowing, aligning, receiving, and expressing, that's what I do here in this podcast space. And I believe because of that practice, there's this pure vibration, this pure energy of love that is transmitted through me, not me through me, because of the way that I connect in with Gaia, with the consciousness of Gaia, the way that I align with source energy and the archangels and the consciousness, the guides that work with me. It's to bring into alignment, but first to allow that to happen, to bring into alignment all of those frequencies and find the common thread or the common attunement or the common pulse that is in all of those, a common resonance that is in all of those frequencies, and just like align that and then receive whatever that energy, that message is, and transmit it, express it out through video and audio in this podcast. It's like, if I could describe it the way I'm seeing it in this moment, it's like I am here, this tube, this conduit, and then there are all these pipes and funnels that are coming in from different directions at my crown and also at my feet, as in Gaia. And I can feel and sense all of these energies that are supporting and arriving and communicating with me, not just now in this podcast, but all the time. And so when I show up for this space, I allow all of that energy to come in. And then my focus is on aligning it through me, through my tube, through my, so I bumped the mic, through my conduit, and knowing that as all of these energies are coming in and coming down through this one tube or energetic portal that I hold, there's a receiving that happens. First for me, I receive that alignment. I receive that attunement. I receive that energy. I communicate with the consciousness of Gaia and the consciousness of Source and all of my guides. Like, I am receiving all of that beauty and love and harmony in me. And then as I receive that, there's such a bounty, there's such an abundance, an overabundance of it, that the natural process is to express, to just transmit it to you, to anyone who's on the receiving end of the video or the audio. Like, I bring it all in, and I allow and receive, and then there's so much that it's like, like to you, because I'm filled up, I am resourced, I am harmonious. I'm so happy. Like, there's so much energy and magic, joy, consciousness, love, flow, expression, not expression. There's so much beauty. There's so much goodness. There's just such a a surplus of all of that goodness. And so it's really the natural way for me is to express that, to allow that energy to just I'm trying to not bump the mic and show you. It's like all of this magic and juicy goodness comes in, comes down. I'm receiving, it's being aligned, and then there's a to you. And the cool part is, it doesn't end. Like, it just keeps coming, which is why my episodes go 45 minutes to an hour. Like, I can sit here and hold this, receiving this beauty, and just keep expressing it through the video and the words and whatever ideas and thoughts come through along with that energy coming in. There are words and ideas and images and thoughts and threads, and part of my practice, part of my gift is, as that comes in and it's aligning in me, I have a trust, I have a practice, a process where I can translate or understand what each of those energies are bringing in, and then as it comes into my third eye and my eyes and my ears, it's impossible to not bump this mic. It's right in my face. Like, as I bring all of that in, I have this way of understanding, seeing, feeling, sensing what that energy wants to express, or how that energy can be best translated, transcribed, expressed. And so I can just put words and hand symbols, mudras, energy, movement. I can feel how it all can make sense, and then I can articulate that, and that's part of my expression through video and through audio. And I feel like that's why the video is so magical to watch. If you if you haven't been watching, if you've only been listening, every once in a while you should pop over and watch the video, because I feel like I'm very transparent in how energy arrives and how I allow it to come in, and as it's being received by me, I think it's it's very easy to see. I'm not a poker player. I would be a terrible poker player, because I feel like you can read what's being felt and energetically experienced by me very easily. And my body language, my eyes, my face, my hands, like, are constantly communicating how the energy wants to move through me and how it wants to be translated. And so every once in a while, I think coming over to the video will be fun for you, because it'll just add this other element to the time that you're spending with me, the attention you're giving to this vibration, this frequency that I transmit. It'll add just a little bit of pop or fun or extra. It'll just give it a little extra. And then you can go back to the audio and love the audio as much as you do the video. But sometimes the video is just really fun. Can you feel that in your heart? Like, there's so much energy that is wanting to express to you. I'm not saying that quite right. There is such an extra abundance of energy that I am allowing to come in today, because this is the title, the topic that we are exploring. And so I'm modeling, showing you my practice, and because that's what we're focusing on, it's amplified. So there's like more that just keeps pouring in through my crown. It's so funny too, because I've had like this sort of like right here, there's been this kind of like kind of pulsing pressure most of last night and this morning. And sometimes I think, oh, it must have been, whatever, the sugar I had last night or the beer or whatever. But it's not that. It's energy. It's the amount of energy, and then my typical capacity, my typical boundaries or limitations of how much I will allow myself to receive. And so I've got this like little block right here that's going, really, really, really? You want more than that? We're going to allow more than that? Yeah, we are. And so when I focus on that allowing, and I feel more energy coming in, there's a like a steadiness that I need to strengthen in my body to allow like that much more to come in. And so I can feel like the bottom half of my body is not moving. So steady. Just sitting here, back supported, feet firmly planted, just allowing more to come in. And as more comes in, there's more in my heart that I can feel. And that's what I am sharing with you. It's like there's so much more coming in through my crown. And as it moves down through my head and my eyes and my throat and it gets to my heart, there's just like, whoa, like express how, how beautiful this frequency is that wants to be transmitted to you. Sometimes when I allow this much energy to flow through me, what I've heard from some of my clients or people who watch my videos, they're like, you look high. You look like you're doing something, smoking pot or getting high. I'm like, no, I have my tea, my water. I had a smoothie this morning. What else did I have? That's it. I had a smoothie and I had water, and that's it. There's no substances. I think this is what's sometimes so hard for people to believe or to accept or to believe is possible. And so I I share it with you because it's totally possible because I feel it. I believe for many of us, and I've done this before in the past, so this is no judgment. This is just the translation of what I feel the message is coming through me. We have this tendency or this belief that, there's only so much joy we can access in this human body. And so substances and drugs and, mind-altering experiences are necessary in order for us to have some transcendental moment or some orgasmic, like something. And so we need to go chase those experiences. We can't just sit here and feel that in the body by ourselves without some other stimuli. So I say to you, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It just isn't a process maybe we're familiar with. We're so used to external. We're so used to going to get something to give us that something and not realizing we have all of that capacity and those resources within ourselves. And we simply need modeling or examples or expressions. As I clear my throat, expressions. We need the words. We need the articulation of what it is so that we can also do that. We need someone to tell us how or show us how it works for them. And then we learn how to apply it in our own way for us. So as I sit here and model for you how I do it, that doesn't mean it's the only way or the right way or the best way. It means this is the way that I've figured out that really works for me. And it took 400 and something episodes for me to figure it out and trust it enough where I will actually tell you this is the actual process of what is happening here. So I don't know, maybe you need to start a podcast or maybe you need to write a book or start singing. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what your way is going to be. I am here to show you and to tell you that this frequency is absolutely possible in a body without anything to stimulate that except yourself. Your consciousness connected, tapped into the consciousness. I describe it above the head because that's what makes sense to me, but maybe some people feel it around themselves or at their feet. To tap into how much energy and love and support and wisdom and beauty and truth and light and high vibrational frequency is constantly surrounding us. And so in any moment, it's accessible. The choice, and this is why these 3 words are so powerful, The choice is to allow yourself to believe that that frequency exists, allow yourself to tap into it, and then allow that energy to come into your body. Allow in whatever ways you osmosisly receive it, allow that to happen. And that's a choice only you can make. I can sit here and tell you every week for the rest of your life that this is possible, and you have to be ready. You have to allow yourself to feel and believe in that potential, and then you have to allow it to happen. And that's yours, you know? That's not mine, that's yours. And it took me a long time. I'm 51 years, 1 month. Almost exactly, actually. What's today? The 24th. Almost exactly 51 in 1 month. It's taken me a while. maybe you're like 5, 10, 20. You already get it. If so, thank God you are on this planet because we really need you. uh, okay, so allow is the first step. Allow is the first word, the vibration. And I feel like for me, because of my practices, because I've done a lot of energy work and I've sat in plant medicine ceremonies and I have had many energy sessions where I've been receiving, like I meditate, like I've done the things that have helped me in my own journey to trust that these energies that are constantly around me and working with me are here to support my highest and best good. And so even when I don't always enjoy the way that I'm learning or the way that I'm receiving, enjoy in the sense of sometimes the lessons are tough, sometimes the understanding and the clearing that needs to happen in this human vessel that I chose takes some work and takes some patience and has some blind spots and some painful bumps. And, there's like shit that goes on in the human journey. And yet, all of that has allowed me to trust that when I am still and I allow messages, consciousness, energy, frequency to become visible to me, to be understood by me, that everything I receive is in my highest and best good. Every word, every slight little nuance or adjustment is somehow informing what is most going to be of value to me in this moment and the next moment and next week and next year and through the end of my journey as a human here. Every single element is for my highest and best good. And that trust is so important because sometimes, like lately, we kind of get in a holding pattern, and there's this natural tendency to want to like charge forward and go do the thing and make it happen. And I've talked about this enough over the last month. Like, ugh, right? What most serves the message that I receive when I allow all of that to come in and I align and I'm receiving, it's be patient. It's all working exactly as it needs to. Everything is good. There's no delay. There's no punishment. There's no wrong. There's just this experience, this moment, and this choice, and how much you choose to allow. When we can sit in that space and be grateful, be present, be embodied, be quiet and listen and trust, time tends to dissolve. It's like all of this energy comes in, it aligns, but then it kind of does this, right? It goes horizontal. So before maybe it was coming in vertically, and then it just sort of stretches, and we can just be. My tendency is to express, to allow all of this energy align, receive it, and then express it, because there's so much that flows through me that I feel like I need to share it. And yet sometimes it's just being in that energy, in that frequency, allowing that alignment to happen, and then just being in that alignment. Just holding steady in that, holding still in that. It's like in Kundalini Yoga, when some of the movements, you put yourself in the position and it's all, contorted, not your normal way of like being in a position, and you hold it. And you hold that. The one that is always one of the most challenging for me, I think I've talked about it here before, is when you sit with your feet on the floor. You're sitting on the floor, you got your feet stretched out in front of you, and you lean over and you put your hands on your toes. And then you hold that for 11 minutes, which doesn't seem like it would be that challenging. But in 11 minutes, the amount of energy that starts to move, the way the thoughts and the mind just ping pong all over, and then the body is twitching because it's such an unusual, uncomfortable position, and you're stretching your whole body, and fear is starting to move because that's what I focus on in that position, because that's what the thing says to focus on, and so that's what I do. Oh my gosh, like time goes horizontal and stretches, and that allowing of that experience shifts something inside and realigns. And the pause is the gift, the quiet stillness of the mind and the body and the soul coming into that moment of harmony is the gift. And something magical happens in those moments. So not everything needs to be expressed, and not everything needs to be expressed in the actual moment it's being experienced. It's a trust. It's as I scratch my third eye. What is it? What is that? My crown. Yeah, it's like a surrender. For me, it's a surrender to what most serves me, what most serves the co-creation that I'm in, what most serves the collective. And sometimes it's me first, sometimes it's the collective first, sometimes it's the co-creation of the individuals around me first. Like, I don't always know. And until I'm in that moment, trusting the energy that's moving through me, I don't know. And what I am mastering, I don't know if I'll ever actually fully master it in my whole human journey, but that's a good goal, isn't it? What I am mastering is the ability to listen, to discern, to trust, and then to act on whatever the moment is guiding me to act on, without judging or looping or coming back and evaluating and making myself or others wrong, or just being right here in this moment and knowing it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So let's go back. Allowing. I feel like if you're new to this, if all of this as you're listening is like, what? What is she saying? What does she mean? I can feel it, but I don't quite understand it. But like, what is that? For me, allowing, I'm so accustomed to how that feels, to have energy surrounding me and then bringing it into me. It's not even like I bring it, it comes into me because I allow that. And as it moves through me, I've trusted the process and the practices of how that moves, which then allows more and more to flow in. For some people, if this is a whole new practice for you or a whole new concept for you, this may feel too confusing to have lots of energies or consciousness beings working with you. And so perhaps you simply allow one, and that one could have an energy or a face or an association with someone who you knew in the physical, who perhaps is no longer here, who you trust. And so there's a familiarity with the energy, the consciousness that has your best interests at heart, who wants the best for you. And so when I say allow, practice allowing, you could maybe picture that one angel or being or animal, or what else would work? Um, I don't know, magician, guide. All right, here's one for you that just came to mind. If you don't have one, if there is not one that immediately comes to your mind, I have a beautiful friend named Raphael who I feel would work with anyone who decides. He's like, yeah, anyone who decides that they need some support. And I did a podcast about him called 5 Years Later, maybe a year ago. You can listen to that if you want to hear the story about who he is and get a sense of his human energy, his consciousness energy, the voice or the frequency that he would show you as, and I say he, but obviously he's not a gender now because he's consciousness. But sometimes I think it's helpful to have a face and a gender and an identity just to help us start to practice and trust the receiving. So Raphael, I think he was in his 40s when he died 5 years ago, and he was playful and silly and wise and a shaman. He used sound. He loved music. He created music. His voice was music. His vibration was music. But he was silly and playful at the same time. And so if you don't have an energy that you feel you could trust, that you would allow to transmit energy through you, tune into his vibration, how he feels to you, that consciousness that we call Raphael. And you can picture, like, he would be sitting. He used to have a didgeridoo. Didgeridoo is that long instrument with a big wide open bass, and he would have you lay on the ground and put your head in the didgeridoo, so like it's in front of your face. And then he's all the way back up there, was like 6 feet tall. He's standing way up over there, and he would breathe and like, I would say chant, but I think he was blowing. But music would come through the didgeridoo, and you were in it. Like, you were surrounded by his frequency. It was so cool. It was so cool. Thank God I had the opportunity to experience that in person, live, like as a human. Wow. Anyway, his message that I remember the most was individuation, becoming like the individual human, separate from your parents and your identifications and your relationships. Like, who are you at an individual level? And what's your way of expressing love? What's your way of communicating your stories, your wisdom, who you are here to be? And so perhaps as we practice allowing energy, you can see him as sort of a gatekeeper or a doorway, one of the portal holders who would protect or create a space so that as energy comes in from source, God, the universe, love, consciousness, whatever words you want to assign that energy, as you practice allowing more, there's this, it looks like a halo. There's like a little halo above your head, like an angel. And here's Raphael standing behind the halo, supervising, making sure that this is of your highest and best good. And so when we have that safety, that security, that knowing that we're not doing it by ourselves, and we have someone with a high caliber love protecting us, and it doesn't have to be Raphael, it can be whoever you feel guided to use or ask for that support. But Raphael is a good backup if you don't have anyone. As that energy, as you practice allowing energy to come into your awareness and into your human experience, you have this protection, this ring that smooths and soothes your human trust and belief that allowing is a good thing, that allowing serves you, that allowing is why we're here. It's why we're here. It's to be in the human form and receive the magic of the universe and bring it into this realm. Not to be separate from it, not to be punished or isolated or disconnected, to be intimately receiving and moving that frequency through our human form all the time, in every moment. And sometimes, so as we practice, this is what I was going to say. If you're not comfortable with lots of allowing or lots of different consciousness energies working with you, have one. And imagine, like, if the angel halo that I was describing is like a little one like this, right at the top of your head, like a little tiny hole. There's not a lot of allowing that can come through that. And so what you can practice day after day is making that allowing space a little wider, a little wider, a little wider. And eventually you've got this like big opening of energetic permission to allow more frequency to come in. And it can still just be from one energy, from one consciousness. But as it comes in, you've got this big portal, and more can come in and more can come in. And then your work, your, what is it? Not work. I mean, work is the word, right? Your challenge, your opportunity, your opportunity is to, as that comes in, to feel how it's moving through you, to be the conduit and start understanding and receiving as that energy comes through, however it wants to communicate with you or express through. Express is my work. You don't have to be expressing it. It's about just receiving it, being it. So as that energy comes in, you might feel the pressure of, oh, that's a lot of energy. So you slow the flow down, and then you focus on, why is there pressure right here? What is it that is in my head that perhaps needs some time or some soothing? And so maybe there's a bunch of thoughts that are looping, or there's some stories or patterns or beliefs that you just have locked in, and there's this like constant pressure over here. So you just allow that energy to run through you and soothe and move and flow. There you go. And do you see how it's like you become empowered in how to work with the energy in your own body. You are the aligner. you are the one who is flowing the energy where it needs to go. So maybe it's your throat. You know, there are words you need to express, and ideas and thoughts that you have been holding back, or maybe you've been like vomiting ideas and thoughts and opinions and judgments. And so as you allow energy to come in, consciousness to move through you, it's going to purify and rinse. And you might find yourself laughing more, or coughing to move that energy, or your ears might be popping because you haven't been listening enough. So you got to like clear out some of that cotton wool that's in your ears. And as that happens, you find that there are these beautiful words that you can't help but say, because the energy in your throat chakra is like up leveling. It looks so good. And as it moves through, you know, your heart might need, right? Might need some support, some love, some soothing, some tenderness. And as you are allowing, especially if you've got Raphael right here, as you're allowing energy to come in and it's aligning and it's coming to your heart, and your heart is adjusting to that and feeling like some beautiful experiences may happen when we are allowing high frequency, pure love, pure consciousness to come into our human form and be in our heart space. Miracles start to happen, and there are ways that you will share love and receive love and communicate love that maybe were so natural to you as a child, when you would just run and hug someone and wrap yourself around your favorite grandparents, or cousins or pets or neighbors, when you would just like feel so filled with joy and love that you couldn't help but just surround that person with your love or receive love from that person. You were just like, it was just so good. And over time, you've stopped trusting that, or you've been rejected, or you've rejected, and so the heart chakra is not as trusting of that purity. When we allow, especially with Raphael, like right here, when we allow consciousness to come in and align and rest in our heart, the beauty that can come from that alignment and that receiving, first for yourself, for your own heart, and then the care you will have for the hearts of those around you. Like, oh, it's magnificent. It's humbling. It's how a parent feels, hopefully, when a new baby is born and they arrive in the world. There is this absolute recognition of the greatest gift that was ever placed into your arms, and the reverence of that agreement. When we allow energy, consciousness, to come in through our crown and move down to our heart, we are reminded that we chose this human journey, that the soul that sits inside of the human form is infinite and powerful and beautiful and source energy. From the one where all originate, that energy sits inside. Each one of us has that right inside of our heart chakra, and it's just waiting. It's just sitting there waiting. And we're, doing other stuff until we arrive in this video or audio, and I say to you, I don't know, again, for the first time, for the 100th time, like, hey, maybe there's something beautiful waiting right inside of your heart chakra. How do you access that? Oh, you put Raphael. Raphael stands right here, and you allow the energy to come in, you align it into your body, you become the conduit of that energy, and then you receive that. You receive that energy for yourself, and when you have a surplus, when all of your own work is complete inside of you, or mostly, you have the surplus, you can express, express. Yeah, and then sometimes we've done so much expressing. Aubrey Marcus sent an email out yesterday, and I could feel that from him. Like, you give so much, you express so much that you forget that sometimes you have to come back in and you have to realign. You have to open up your flow to allow more, because you've expanded your conduit, you've expanded your capacity, and you've been running so much through you and out that your own system has become depleted. And so you take a pause, you recognize, like, oh, there's something that doesn't feel good because I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm whatever the words are. And so you take that pause and you stop expressing for a little while, and you open up more, allowing, and you realign. And then there's that moment where you're full again. There's so much in you. Like, there's so much. Now you got to start expressing again. Isn't it so cool to look at the process in this way? And then, the heart, like, we do all this work in the heart. I think it's so funny that today I chose like a sparkly heart shirt. I haven't worn this shirt in years, probably. At least a couple years. And there's like little silver sparklies all over it. And there's actually like heart shapes. When I look down at the shirt, there's like upside down hearts that are like looking at me. Aww. See, like everything is so guided. It's so beautiful. When our heart chakra is resourced and full and feeling peaceful and joyous. And that allowing energy is still coming in and flowing down, and we are aligned with it, and it reaches our solar plexus, our third chakra. All of that love, all of that consciousness, that universal cosmic wisdom, when it's aligned inside of ourselves and our heart is clear and steady and strong, what happens in the third chakra is this alchemical, mystical formation. I love when the words are so precise, like I can hear the word in my head. Let me repeat that. Alchemical, mystical formation of stardust brought into human expression. And so it looks like the silver sparklies on my shirt. It looks like magical energy that doesn't quite know what to do yet or how to. There's a great scene. What movie was that? The Eternals. The Eternals. There's a great scene where I don't remember the guy's name, but one of them, he forms. He takes energy, and then he puts his hands together, and he like forms things, and then he puts them up in the air, and you can see them as like gold. They almost look like constellations or little grids, but they're just points of light that he's connected. And so the energy of the thing is created, and he forms it, and then he gifts it because he's a god or a superhero, an eternal. He gifts it to humanity, and then humanity suddenly can bring that idea, that energy into something physical. So for example, he was showing like the steam engine and they were saying, you can't give humanity the steam engine yet. That's like way too far advanced. Give them something to begin with. And so they show him like creating a plow or an axe, like this basic level of production. But he knew what was possible. He knew how far he could take that energy. And I feel that for every soul in a human form, we have unique, beautiful ways of expressing this energy once we allow it to come in. When we tap into the universe, the cosmos, all energy, bring it into our form, run it through our heart so that our intentions are pure and guided by love, and then we have it in our third chakra, we can start creating the most magical, mystical, alchemical formations. and they've never been expressed before because we have never existed in this story, in this body, in this way before. And so whatever we birth or bring into creation through our third chakra is going to be new. It's going to be something that didn't have our flavor, our essence, our unique imprint before. But we don't usually trust that creative energy because we haven't aligned, or we're limiting the flow. We got this little tiny flow right here at the top of our crown, and that little flow can't create big magic. Or we've totally blocked the flow. So let's go back to the beginning. We allow, we put Raphael there if we need to. As we allow, we align, we become the conduit, we run it through our chakra system. We receive, so our heart feels the magic and the beauty that's possible. And then all that energy is going to form and create something new. And so maybe that's where we begin expressing. For me, I already am expressing in my throat, like energy comes in, but for others, it may come all the way down to the third chakra, and then it's being formed into whatever your expression is going to be. And then the second chakra, we're receiving, we're in relationship, we're like, that's the good part. That's the good part of being a human. I would say that's the best part of being a human is in that second chakra, the sensuality, the enjoyment, the pleasure of the physical form and the senses. Like when our second chakra is just good, there's so much fun to be had. And so we can allow more energy to come in, align it, receive it, bring it all the way down to the second chakra. Maybe like you aren't as interested in creating and expressing through the third chakra, but when I talk about the second chakra, you're like, yes, yes, I want some fun. I want some play. I want some friends. I want some good activities that bring me delight. I want to enjoy good foods. Like, yes to the pleasure. How do you allow yourself more pleasure in your life? Let's go back to the beginning. You allow the universe consciousness to come in, to run down. You align it. You bring it all the way down into your second chakra. You receive. You receive. And you can feel like that energy multiplying and expanding. And then the root. You know, I almost called today's episode Deep Roots. And I was like, no, that's not the highest frequency, words, vibration of what I feel moving through. And yet it does all come back to how rooted we are. My ability to sit here and plant my feet and feel my connection deep into the core of this planet, like the energetic connection I have with Gaia, deep roots. That depth allows me to be so steady as I'm feeling all of this energy coming in and aligning. It has a pathway, a conduit through which to flow. And as it comes in, that steadiness allows me to expand and receive as much as feels good in the moment, knowing even as it comes in and I'm expressing and sharing it out, I'm steady because the roots, the energetic connection I have to this planet, it's holding me strong. Yeah, you can feel it. I don't even need to say anymore. When it can go either way, right? Like when I trust that the energy coming in is not going to harm me, wants to actually be of my highest and best good, I feel safe. And then my root chakra is steadier. Or I feel safe. I trust that my root is good, that I'm connected to the earth, that the physical environment around me is safe, that nothing is going to happen to me in this moment. And that deep rooted steadiness allows me to then open up and receive more through my crown. You can, go at it. You can go at it either way. it's all going to move through in the same conduit. Like whether you're coming in this way or receiving it this way, it's all moving through. It's like my timekeeper. Did you see we got a new bigger timekeeper last weekend when my husband and I were out? Oh my gosh, we're so excited. We saw it in this little antique store and we're like, ah! But the hourglass is constantly turning. It's full on one side, it goes through and drains into the bottom, and then we turn it. And then it's just a constant repeating of the cycle. I believe that for souls in human bodies here on Gaia, we are constantly recycling, regenerating energy. So whether you're allowing it to come in, aligning it, receiving it, running it through you down to the earth eventually, because you're going to pee and poop and energy will move through you in some energetic or physical way, and it will be returned to the earth. Eventually, right, you'll die, and then your energy will probably either be ashes or body, and it'll go into the earth. Like, not to make light of that, but that is the whole regenerative energy. It is recycled in the earth and then returned, brought back into new life. We can do that in this moment constantly. I can be allowing energy to come in, running it through me, running it through into the earth, playing with the crystal at the center of Gaia, receiving more energy up through my feet, through my legs, running it up, sending back out to source, bringing it back in. There's a constant movement between the core of this planet, the consciousness of Gaia, all humans who are engaging in this energy field of Gaia, and then the universe outside of us, we are in constant energetic communication, flow, dialogue, always, always. What has happened, I feel, for humans as a general statement, is that we've blocked it, or we've created a barrier around our minds that says that's not happening. What's happening is what I see, feel right here in front of me. What's happening is what I know, what I've read, what I've studied. It's not, everything else is untrue except for whatever these facts are that my mind chooses to believe. And so here I am showing up in audio and video yet again to say there's another whole reality happening. There's like this whole other truth. And yeah, and I know it, I feel it, I believe it, I am that. I am in constant dialogue, flow with energy at all times, and delighting in it. Sober, completely sober. And it's not something I can tell you or force on you, or what's something I can tell you. It's not a belief system or a practice I can impose on anyone or judge anyone for doing or not doing, or it's everyone's unique choice and experience of how they want to go through this human journey. So this is one way, and it's sweet. It's pretty sweet. And it's also how it looks for me through my lens and my filter, and maybe completely different for you. So I absolutely honor your path and all paths, and my own path. And what I love about Gaia's Love, this podcast space, the cocoon of this set that my husband and I have built, what I love about it is that the expression, the way the energy like arrives, aligns, and expresses through me is so, I'll just tell you the words that come, like so gracious, so peaceful, so unattached, so joyous, so harmonious. Like, yeah. Yeah. And so that's today's episode. And then I'll show up next week, and I don't know, we'll see. Is it episode 419 next week? Yeah. And then 420, which I don't know. Anytime someone says 420, we're all like, pot? It's not really in my reality. I don't know. I wish I liked it more, but I feel better just like I am right now, with water and tea and smoothies, and an abundance of love and support from the universe. And Raphael, like, standing right here. It's so funny. Every time I tune into his energy, it looks like he does cartwheels or flip-flops, like just because he can, like an acrobatic sort of. I'm not in a human body, so you just sit right there in your human limitedness, and I'm gonna just do cartwheels behind you. Like, that's always the energy I feel from him. Like, I can't sit still. There's too much happening. Yeah. All right. That was so much fun to show you. I do feel like maybe a little context will be helpful now that we're at the end of that transmission. This is the context I feel to be true, is that and this is not prophecy, this is not foretelling, this is me articulating why this message feels like it's timed at this moment. I feel like there is a reservoir, is that the word? It's not the word. There's an abundance, and a superabundance, an over extra, like phenomenal abundance of love and support that is constantly being infused into the energy field of Gaia, specifically at this time. That there is so much love and support and commitment from the universe, from all realms, from all angels and guides and source and planets and thought forms and beings, to support, to strengthen the shift that is happening at this time on our planet. This moment where the human experience is being redefined, where we've kind of been wrung out like a wet a wet cloth from COVID. We've just been like stretched dry. And now what happens? We're like taut, T-A-U-T, taut. Like we're at the edges of our ropes, or at the edges of our beliefs of what we can receive or what we can handle, because it's just been so much. And now there's all this political and intense energy that's moving across Europe and Russia. There's just so much. And so I feel like for humanity, we can feel like, what else? Like, can we keep doing this? Is this the end? Are we done? Is the planet dying? Like all these thoughts that are repeated over and over, that form that little loop in our mind that say, this is what everybody's talking about. This is what everyone's saying is going to happen. It's the financial collapse. It's the end of the world. It's the next war. Whatever these loops happen, and we get caught in them and we believe them. And then we're like, it must be near the end. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope we make it. So I feel the reason this message is coming through so clearly and powerfully to me to express to you today in this moment is there's so much support and love always around, energetically, a frequency, a vibration that is constantly present in every single moment for each one of us, all at the same time. Every single human on this planet in one moment could go, allow, increase the allowing, bring in the allowing. Every human at one moment could do that, and there would be an abundance of allowing for every single human all at the same time. There's no limitation. There's no lack. There's no lack. And so if that is possible, that every single one of us could be abundantly resourced in the exact same moment we choose to do it, what's stopping any of us from attempting to receive now? Like, allow it now. Why wait for the whole world to get the same memo and receive that same message all at the same time? Just start right now and see what happens. See what shifts. See how you feel. That will be the clarifier for you. See how you feel. Feel what happens when you start to allow more of that energy, and then you align it within yourself and you receive it and you play with it and you bring it through your human body, and magic starts to happen. Miracles start to happen. The unexpected is suddenly commonplace, and the receiving of all that you've been desiring happening. It's legit. It's totally legit. And you'll be doing it sober. What? True. So true. And you can do it by yourself. You don't have to be in a relationship. You don't have to wait for somebody. You don't have to do anything except choose to just be in the moment and allow. And the reason, the context for this message being received by you today is because we are at a formation moment where so many people are believing we're at the edges of our rope, that it's like suffocating. It's so limiting the joy, the beauty of the human experience. Why? Why? We don't have to choose that. I mean, unless we want to, and that's everyone's choice to choose whatever you want. But which one feels like, for me, feeling my connection to consciousness, to the universe, knowing like I have a place in this whole masterful design of source and angels and guides and Gaia Earth and other planets. Like, I have a place in that, and I have a contribution I can add that serves the whole, that is so uniquely mine. And without me, the world would be less, humanity would be less, Gaia would be less, consciousness would be less. So it's good I'm here because I get to contribute it. And that alignment, that knowing, it feels beautiful. And I believe many humans don't have that knowing of their place in the whole, or that clarity about their service they can contribute to the whole. And so we feel sort of lost or aimless, or like believing in the larger narrative. And we don't have to. We can try other ways and see if there are other ways that feel better to us or feel more aligned to us. And so one way is allow, with Raphael right here. Allow, align, receive, just for you. And then if you want to, express. If you don't, just receive. All right, that was a beautiful transmission. So thank you for showing up and being in this place and moment and experience with me. I send you so much love. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Facebook or Instagram in a community I call the Gaia Tribe Reunion, where we show up together to share our soul's gifts, what we came here to Gaia to contribute to humanity. You can learn more at viviennegerard.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.